had invaded Kashmir and how India defended and secured Kashmir at that point. Let's give you a bit more details and context, of course, explain to you what exactly had taken place then in 1947. So let's tell you about how the accession really took place. And to give you context, you have a map over here, of course. You can see Jammu and Kashmir over here and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa right here. On October 22nd, 1947, Pakistan tribesmen led by Pakistani army officer Akbar Khan had invaded Kashmir from this area, from Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. They had gone across here and of course invaded Jammu and Kashmir at that point in 1947. On October 23rd, the first battle actually took place between the Pakistan army and the Dogra troops of Maharaja Hari Singh. It took place, of course, mainly in Muzaffarabad and Domel. This was the area where that battle had, of course, taken place, the first one on the 23rd of October in 1947. On October 24th and 25th, then at that point, Maharaja Hari Singh, who's picturized here, of Jammu and Kashmir, made an urgent appeal to the Indian government. He, of course, sent an SOS to them. This happened, of course, in that 48-hour period between 24th and 25th October. Pakistan tribesmen, meanwhile, by the 25th of October, had captured two areas before marching onwards towards Uri. So they had captured Gadhi and they had captured Chinari. They had, of course, started invading Jammu and Kashmir and they were marching towards Uri. Then 25th and 26th October to 1947, Brigadier Rajinder Singh, very brave man, of course. We've talked about him on previous shows. Brigadier Rajinder Singh, with 300 men, held off the Pakistani troops at Uri, held off further advancements of them at the Uri in Jammu and Kashmir. Then, of course, that battle which was taking place in Uri allowed Maharaja Hari Singh to avoid capture of further territory and, of course, more of his state. And VP Menon, meanwhile, on the 25th of October, he was the administrative head at that point and the Secretary of the State Department. He flew to Srinagar after the appeal, after the SOS had come in from Maharaja Hari Singh. Cut to further, also on October 25th, 1947, Menon helped the Maharaja and his family move from Srinagar to Jammu. They were moved out of harm, out of danger. They were moved to safety in Jammu. Meanwhile, on the 26th of October, the very next day, tribesmen travelled down the Jhelum river. They then went to Baramulla. They then moved a bit down, a bit south, and they moved to Baramulla in Jammu and Kashmir. The cabinet committee, meanwhile, on that same day, on the 26th of October, decided to fly 2 companies of troops to Srinagar to respond to Maharaja Hari Singh's appeal. So 2 additional troops were sanctioned. They were to move immediately to Srinagar. Hari Singh signed the accession letter on the 27th of October, the day after that, for Kashmir to join the Union of India. So on the 27th, that historic agreement was signed, the accession treaty, of course, by Maharaja Hari Singh. On the 27th of October, meanwhile, Menon came back to Delhi. He came with both the letter and the instrument of accession as well. You can see it there pictured on your screens, of course, the stamp of India and the stamp of the royal state of Jammu and Kashmir. So that is, of course, what transpired at that point. Let me quickly join Major General Gigi Dwivedi, Strategic Affairs Analyst, quickly onto the broadcast. Major General Gigi Dwivedi, some historic context, of course, being given to our viewers. Prime Minister Narendra Modi raking this up today, saying that incidents like Pahalgam would not have continued to happen in India if those historic blunders had not taken place in 1947, Major General Dwivedi.
Well, Uday, you are given a very detailed background as to what exactly is the Kashmir issue. But let's put it in perspective. Well, every military issue has a political background, and therefore Kashmir issue is not an exception, because primarily when India was partitioned, and at the time Maharaja Hari Singh had not decided which way to go. But Pakistan always had sinister design. You know, partition of India took place on 15th of August, where, India became an independent nation. But the point is, Pakistan army, they started to plan capture of Kashmir right in August 1947. They had already started to raise the Lashkars, 10 Lashkars, means 10,000 raiders. And they had a very well thought out plan, which was supported by the army. So therefore, I think Pakistan was instrumental in this whole conflict because they, you know, had a military plan to capture Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir by military means. So therefore, you rightly stated that on 27th or 22nd of October, these raiders they advanced from Muzaffarabad to Uri, and the first battle between the state forces under Brigadier Rajendra Singh took place in Uri, and he actually, he was killed in the battle in Mahura, where I, in fact, commanded my brigade in Baramulla and this sector. But the point is, Uday, we have to understand two, three very important things. Firstly, Pakistan is instrumental in this whole issue because they started this conflict and they tried to take Kashmir by force. The second point is it was not only raiders which actually started the whole operation, but this became the fight between India and Pakistan armies. So therefore, this became a conflict between the two nations. But one thing we must understand, at that time, the armies of both sides on India and Pakistan were not led by the Indian officers. It was General Butcher from the Indian side who was heading the Indian forces, and on the other side was General Gracie. So therefore, how much of the control the political leadership had on the armies of both sides is one point which is debatable. The second point is at that point of time, it was just 2 months after the India's independence that this whole conflict started. Now, how far we could have pushed them remains a debatable issue because when India went on counteroffensive from 27th October 1947, we did retrieve the situation. As I said, I was brigade commander in Baramulla. The Battle of Partition, in fact, had these raiders not indulged in rape, murder, loot. In fact, they also murdered the Mother Superior in Baramulla. Then Srinagar would have fallen because it was a photo finish on 27th October. The 1st Sikh Battalion, under Colonel Rai, he actually was the savior of Srinagar. So there are 2-3 points which I like to conclude that at that time the situation was very, very fluid, and it was the Pakistan who had actually started the whole operation. India went on counteroffensive and did, manage to save Srinagar and push the raiders back to Uri where the line of control today stands. And secondly, the major battle fought in Punch and Jhanga area. In fact, Jhanga was captured. It was Brigadier Osman who was instrumental taking back Jhanga. And of course, the Battle of Punch went on for almost a year. In conclusion, I would say that this whole issue was started by Pakistan. India went on counteroffensive once the document of accession was signed by Maharaja Hari Singh, and the dispute had lingered on. But the onus of the whole dispute lies on Pakistan squarely.
General SVP Singh, defense expert, also with us now live. General SVP Singh, historical connect to Pahalgam mentioned by Prime Minister Modi today. What do you make of his statement and what happened in 1947?
Yes, little break in your voice today, but I'll take it on. Definitely, what has happened in Pahalgam and what has happened in the last 78 years has got a direct connect. It is just continuing, and Prime Minister has very rightly alluded to it. You see, Pakistan, what Jinnah said when it was created, that all I got is a moth-eaten Pakistan, because he had ambitions of a much larger territory, including Punjab and then the East Pakistan area where he got all the area of Assam and all. So he said he's got a moth-eaten Pakistan. Now, the roots of it was that Jinnah definitely wanted Pakistan to be created, his Muslim League, he led them onto that. I think the dividing point came somewhere in 1937 when he demanded in the All India Congress Committee meeting, which was held in the United Provinces, that one Muslim vote should count as two. Now, this was an untenable demand from him. And so why it was so that the Muslims will become minority and they'll be ruled by the Hindus. So that is where the heart of it lies, the two nation theory. Now, after that, when they went, Jinnah had in his heart to plan, get the state of Jammu and Kashmir, which included Ladakh, Gilgit, Baltistan, all that area. And so what he had done, they planned it well on time, and it is called the Operation Gulmarg from the Pakistan side. He had a force of about 20 Lashkars, which one Lashkar had a strength of 1,000. So that was the strength. Plus, it was the regulars who were disguised as irregulars. Now, this regulars, disguised as irregular, were commanded by one Major General Akbar Khan, a Sanders-trained officer who had fought with the British Indian Army pre-partition. And his deputy was one Brigadier Sher Khan. Then there was another irregular force with this Lashkars, whom we call Mujahideens, or that time even Kabalis. There was one person, Khurshid Anwar. He was an emergency commissioned officer who fought the Second World War also. Now, so it was a trained force which had a proper operational plan to come and occupy Srinagar. And you have covered how the battle took place right through. Now, what happened in this historical aspect is that India, we did not foresee when it became independent that Jinnah would be taking such steps. So we reacted only when we got the inputs that their forces are moving. And that is the time when VP Menon was flown in. I think it was 25th October when he was flown in, and he advised Hari Singh in Srinagar to escape first to Jammu, otherwise he'll be killed. And he, along with the Prime Minister Mahajan of J&K, got down to Jammu, made him sign first asked him to accede to India, signed the instrument of accession, and only then India will move its forces. Now, what has happened is this accession instrument which was there, it had principles which were followed in other states of India and which was very effectively led by Sardar Patel. And that was, firstly, this accession or joining the Union of India, it had to have geographical contiguity. And herein, there was no factor of religion, which Pakistan subsequently started playing. The most important was geographical contiguity, and the Maharaja was the whole soul person who would take that decision. So though he was ruling a majority Muslim state, he had all the authority to do so. So that is the historical aspect of it, what happened. And herein, Sheikh Abdullah got involved because he had good relations with Nehru. And that at that time of history, Sheikh Abdullah posed himself as a secularist. And his tenure in political life dilly-dallied, seesaw battle, sometimes with India, sometimes supporting Pakistan, and that is why the things went wrong, because Sheikh Abdullah changed stance more than once, and Nehru, because of his personal relationship, went easy on him, though he was put under detention. It was only when Indira Gandhi came to power, and sometime in 1975, Abdullah was released, and he again became the state chief minister. So that much is there about the very, very briefly.
Yes.
How this thing unfolded,
Yes.
and how India then fought back, and this first Sikh battalion under Colonel Dewan Rai, that moved in 2 companies, and he was leading the forces, and he sustained a bullet injury in the head and died almost instantaneously. And then there was another great action. Brigadier Rajinder Singh has been covered by you. He was awarded the Mahavir Chakra also.
Yes.
There was another great action from Fort Kamau of Major Somnath Sharma for the Battle of Pahalgam.
Okay.
And he held on with his company, with hardly left with any manpower, saying in his last message, I will hold on, I will not withdraw, I will fight on till last round, last man. And that fence of the Battle of Pahalgam saved Srinagar and Srinagar airfield. And that's a great historical fact, military history fact. And that's how Major Somnath Sharma it was the first recipient posthumously of the Paramveer Chakra.
Yes, absolutely. Let me quickly draw in Major General AJB Jaini, defense expert, also into the conversation. Major General Jaini, this historical context is very important for our viewers, as Prime Minister Modi also reminds the nation today as to the historical wrongs, which led for this problem to simmer and fester over the years, and also has contributed to attacks like Pahalgam even continuing up till today. Major General Jaini.
Thank you, Uday, for inviting me on your esteemed channel. It's always a pleasure debating with you. And I have my two co-panelists, SP and Dwivedi. They're not only friends, but they're very well-informed people. So it's a pleasure. Thank you so much. Well, a lot has been said initially by you. You narrated very briefly the history very correctly. And then General Dwivedi has filled in the gaps, and then SP has elaborated further on it. I will focus myself on what your question is on the historical wrong, the historical fact. The historical fact, the major issue, the major bug is that this unfortunate turn of history was a mechanization of the British, of the divide and continuum of the divide and rule policy by Mountbatten and his co. You want independence? Okay, we'll give you independence, but we will leave you in a shitty turmoil. And that is what they did in connivance with Jinnah, in connivance with others. People accuse Nehru, people accuse Gandhi. Well, those are perceptions. But the fact is that while India got independence, Pakistan did not get independence. Pakistan just got a divided share of what was the greater India. Now, basically, Jinnah was banking on the two-nation theory. हमको हमारा पाकिस्तान दो क्योंकि हमारे मुसलमानों का इज्जत भारत में नहीं होगा. And that is how Pakistan came in. But people forget that after the 71 operations, after the liberation of Bangladesh, the two-nation theory fell flat. It was burst like a balloon. And the two-nation theory had no rise on the earth to exist. But Pakistan had already come about. Pakistan was a member of the United Nations. They had an army, navy, air force, a prime minister, and a country on the world map. So they have to survive. Now, how do they survive? Only two things. Call J&K as their jugular vein and say J&K is very dear to us, because that is one reason why their army can exist. Today, let's take a hypothetical case that there is no trouble over J&K. And they accept that, okay, J&K is yours. We'll not have any terrorism, any fight, any skirmishes across the LOC. You can take POK also. What will the Pakistan army do? They will cease to exist. And will they want to cease to exist? Because that is the center pole of power. That is the center of gravity. That is the germ of all the trouble that Pakistan is going through. Call it terrorism, call it economic turmoil, call it Sindhu Treaty cancellation, or call it political turmoil in Pakistan. The army is the bugbear of everything. So that is one thing, the two-nation theory and the basic center of power being the army, which has kept this fire burning for the last 78 years. There have been two wars. The Prime Minister very rightly alluded to it, that after three dhadaps, call it 65, call it 71, call it Kargil, they have not learned a lesson. And Sindoor, okay, fine, damn good. I'm happy as a soldier. I salute my soldiers and my country and my political leadership for having launched Sindoor. But has it solved the problem? I'm afraid no, it has not. Because any problem, as Dwivedi also very rightly said, you've got to look at it operationally, tactically, and strategically. Well, let me take the strategic part. From strategic angle, Sindoor has achieved very little, except that from a strategic restraint which we were following till today, You may say we have sent a strategic messaging. We have sent a message. Don't mess with us, otherwise we'll come and hit you hard. We'll give you a bloody nose. So that is the strategic part, nothing more. As far as the tactical part is concerned, yes, we went into POK, then we went into the heartland of Pakistan, but that center of power continues. You may have gone to Kamani Hills, you may have caused a leak in his nuclear installation. That's besides the story. They'll get the boron gas from Egypt or wherever. They'll manage. They have friends in America even today. The Americans will continue to support because Pakistan continues to be, rightly or wrongly, a frontline state of the US. You will see that while 2-3 nations stood hand to hand, shoulder to shoulder with Pakistan, Azerbaijan, Turkey, and just one or two more. That's all. Where were our friends? There was not a single nation who came blood and soul with India to say we are with you.
Yes.
Polite noises, ceasefire kar lo, we hope it does not escalate, we hope it remains as where it is. That's it. So, as far as tactical part is concerned, the operational part is concerned, that is where I would like to close. And now take it the tactical, the troops angle. Well done. Well done, Indian Air Force. Well done, Indian Army. Well done, the Make in Bharat, the Atmanirbhar, the BrahMos missiles, getting of the S-400, the shooting down of the... We played hell into them. And this was a very nice operational lesson to them. Don't mess with us because we'll give it in such hard measure to you that you will not forget. But again, Uday, the problem remains the same. You may give it to them in twice the intensity next time. Who knows? Pahalgam will be repeated today, tomorrow, day after.
Yes.
If not Pahalgam, it will be Belgaum. If not
Absolutely.
Belgaum,
Very clear statement. Major General K.K. Sinha, defense expert, if I can quickly draw you in. Major General K.K. Sinha, very clear statement by Prime Minister Modi as well. That's what many say, that perhaps, these roots of the Pakistani Mujahideen should have been cut at that point in 1947. Was Sardar Patel's advice on Kashmir listened to, implemented or ignored? Major General Sinha. Of course, Prime Minister Modi has raised this point today, but many have said this in the past too. Major General Sinha, is this something to ponder over today as we look at the fallout of the Pahalgam attack and Operation Sindoor?
Okay, thank you. Jai Hind and good afternoon. Three of our colleagues have covered a lot of historical perspective and also what exactly happened and what we achieved. I will stick to your question. I think that has been left, the perspective that if these people have been finished, and that is what exactly the Prime Minister is, hinted at. And I will stick to that only. I will not go much beyond to that. Okay, your question is also pertaining to that only. What Prime Minister said in 1947, Ma Bharti ke three, tukde ho gaye. The desh was divided in three parts, and on two-nation theory. Usi raat, the same night, the day it happened, 1947. It is not that generally we say that it happened in the 24th or 23rd October. That is what history says. And then we have come, and then it was somewhere on 27 or 28, when Brigadier Ranjit Singh was killed, and then, all those stories are there. It happened exactly on the day we got the independence, that is in the month of, that is when we got 1947 on August 15th, when we got, and it started from that day onwards. Because Gilgit Baltistan come to them because of that, and it carried on. Of course, to month. So it is the month of, we got August, September, October. We are talking about 3 months after that. We have missed 2.5 months. What happened? That is story I will not cover. You have asked me to come just to the, what happened to Sardar Patel, because he was the Home Minister, And of course, you have brought that time who was the defense minister and what they did, and of course what happened when Menon came and what happened letter of accession. That is background to it. Now, what Prime Minister said that the same raat on the day we got the independence, इस धरती पे मुजाहिदीन का आगमन हुआ. He is saying the terrorism started on India. If we take it that, that was not that time the part of it, the letter of accessions came, that is the same night it happened. The stories has been brought out very amply in clear that Jammu and Kashmir state forces, which was there, and Brigadier Ranjit Singh was part of that Jammu and Kashmir state force. We do not have to forget about it. And after that, the Indian armed forces, when the first Sikh landed over there in Srinagar, Avantipur, and then the battle started, and that is the story altogether. I will jump to what Sardar Patel is. Sardar Patel was of the view that the Indian onslaught was on. Indian onslaught has carried on. So it carried on till 1948. And, when there are a number of, people who are the prominence, one name which comes out is, again, Brigadier Usman. Because I will not cover what happened from Srinagar, right up to Srinagar and further towards, when you say toward the western side, they have gone. But when they were pushed back and we were stopped, we were stopped in 1948 and India chose to go to UN. We go to UN in Article 4 and then Article 6. That is the biggest problem. That is the thing in which, Prime Minister is bringing it out. And Sardar was of the view that we should not stop less than Muzaffarabad. He has used this word in his today's address. And that time, it was Nehru. I don't have to take the, miss his name. And along with, Farooq Abdullah's father, they wanted that India should stop. Mind you, in Kotli area, which is further south to Muzaffarabad. Indian forces of the state force was holding that area. And when a brigade arrived over there, they were told to vacate. Means the POK was vacated. We are not only stopped, Kotli, if you know, that's south of it. And fortunately, we have got an officer whose father was that time commanding, he was a major commanding that area. He is alive today to tell the history, what exactly it happened. We were told to come back from the so-called the POK, which is there, south of Muzaffarabad. This is what the Prime Minister is saying. What he's saying, the 2 points. Sardar Patel said that we should not stop the Indian army till we reach Muzaffarabad and complete area. And the second thing, what he said, that all Mujahideens who came that time, that was the Mujahideen battle. And what we are saying, Mujahideen, the people who are the terrorists now, the same terrorist, and jihad has come in the big way. Jihad was that time also. It has got a religious angle because two-nation theory is based on the religion angle. So they came over there and they have been stopped. That is what the, very important your viewers must know. And we allowed certain areas which has been, to given back to Pakistan. And one very few historian has written down by pen that even Kotli was with us during that time. Kotli is a place south of Muzaffarabad,
right,
where that dam has come. Mangla Dam has just come further south of that.
Yes.
The Mangla Dam came in after 65. So there are there are gaps, in big gaps in our in a complete history. We just keep repeating something. The historical mistakes are these. Historical mistake is to go in UN, make this area as a disputed area, stopping the Indian forces.
Dr. Ramesh Raina, Kashmiri Pandit, if I can quickly rope you in here. Dr. Ramesh Raina, do you believe that POK could have been taken back at that point itself in 1947?
See, your voice is broken. Can you repeat your question, please?
Okay, I'll come back to you. I'm just, my producers will just check your line and then I'll come back to you because I want to quickly examine this next big segment as well, which is very important in our conversation today. On October 26th, 1947, the Union government accepted the